Good morning, Broncos Country. We have some more news to hit on today. George and Sean Payton have been busy bees the last 24 hours. After releasing Brandon McManus, the Broncos signed not one, but two players. So we're going to catch you guys up to speed on everything that has happened and then break down the Cam Fleming signing and get you guys re-familiar with the tackle. But first things first, let's start with the first signing, kind of go in chronological order here. Denver signed Tyler Lancaster, a nose tackle / 3 technique. I don't think he's a 5 technique defensive tackle. Was with the Packers for 4 seasons. Last year, he was with the Raiders, but unfortunately got hurt in the preseason, so did not see him at all last year. But he's going to be joining Zach Allen and DJ Jones on the defensive line, and I think he's going to tap out Jonathan Harris as the starting defensive tackle. But let's hit on the most recent signing, Tom Pelissero, reporting veteran offensive tackle Cam Fleming is re-signing with the Broncos on a 1-year deal worth up to $4 million per source. Fleming started 15 games in 2022, playing both offensive tackle spots and yada, yada, yada. So we're going to break down this Cam Fleming move, kind of look over some PFF grades from last year, and just talk about what his role is on this team, because I think it might be more than just a swing tackle, although that's kind of the safe bet for now. But we are your Broncos news home. When Denver released Brandon McManus, we got a video out to you guys. When they signed Tyler Lancaster, we went live. So don't miss a single thing when it comes to the Broncos all off-season long. Plus, we're so close to our next milestone, 14,000 subscribers. If you have not joined the channel yet, I invite you to go ahead and do so. Now, I want to kind of get this off my chest here. Quick YouTuber spiel, because it's not your problem, it's mine. But Sean and George, mostly Sean, because I think he's calling the shots right now, you can space these moves out a little bit. It's the offseason. We know it can get a bit boring at times. It can get a bit dry. You don't have to cut and sign 2 players all in the span of 12 hours. Space it out a little bit. Help your media folk out, which we know Sean Payton, he's not very interested in having a deep relationship with the media. He has really not cut ties, but he has limited his media availability to the absolute minimum, if you will. But now let's talk about the Cam Fleming signing. So I've got him penciled in as that first swing tackle right behind Garrett Bowles and Mike McGlinchey on the depth chart. So if something were to happen to either player, I think he'd be the first man to step up. Now, I don't think he's just got that role for the entire season, though, and we're going to talk about that because Garrett Bowles, I don't know his availability week 1. But my initial reaction to the Cam Fleming signing was maybe not an ideal starter, right? I don't think you want to go into the season knowing Cam Fleming is our starting left tackle. He's good-ish, not great, but he's a great depth piece. I can feel very confident, if Cam Fleming has to come in the third quarter and hold down the fort for a couple of drives or series, I can get behind that. But if Cam Fleming, I'm told, is our week 1 starter and he's going to be the planned starter for the entire season, that I'm not too jazzed up about. Now, let's refresh everyone here on some Wikipedia notes, if you will, for Cam Fleming. He made 15 starts for Denver last year at both right tackle when Billy Turner was unavailable and then left tackle when Garrett Bowles went down. He's entering year 10, his 3rd straight season with Denver. He was drafted by the Patriots back in 2014, spent some time with the Cowboys, spent some time with the Giants, and then with Denver for the last 3 seasons. So Cam Fleming is familiar with the team. I shouldn't say he's familiar with the system or anything like that, because he too is on his 3rd head coach now with the Broncos. So there's going to be a lot of turnover and a lot of changes in the offense, but at least he knows how to get to the facilities and whatnot. Now, here are his PFF grades from last season. PFF really liked him. They ranked him 29th out of 81 qualifying tackles. Overall grade, 72.6. Much better pass blocking grade. That tends to be the case when tackles get a bit older. They don't maybe have that burst or quickness to get to the second level and be a better run blocker. 6 penalties, 7 sacks. Those aren't disastrous numbers for a guy who played 976 snaps. But those are the types of numbers you see from a swing tackle who maybe has to hold a little bit to not give up a sack, but 7 sacks, not ideal. That's why I think he's a good depth piece, but I don't know if he is your ideal planned week 1 starter. So grade Denver's revamped offensive line, right? After adding Ben Powers, signing Mike McGlinchey, and now signing Cam Fleming. What letter grade are you giving it? An A, B, C, D, or F? A lot of improvements were made, but you still have some concerns, right? You're still rolling it back with Lloyd Cushenberry, who last year did not show much reason to believe he can be a starting center in the NFL. I'm going to give this revamped offensive line a B, right? I don't want to give them the roses too early, but I like the Ben Powers signing. I love the Mike McGlinchey signing. I think Denver has put a lot of work into beefing up this offensive line, and Russell Wilson was the second most sacked quarterback last year, 55 sacks in only 15 starts. Hopefully that number goes down with a combination of Russ being a little bit more disciplined, but also this offensive line not being a disaster like it was in 2022. Now, I want to switch gears a little bit here and kind of bring Garrett Bowles into the fold here, because what's the deal with Garrett Bowles? Like, when is he returning? Because I wonder if, with OTAs getting underway, Denver was talking to Bowles, talking to the trainer, and they got kind of a status update as they got him back in the facility for the first time in a while, and they sort of got a good pulse and a good idea of, so is Garrett Bowles going to be ready to go week one? And maybe the trainer laughed and was like, dude, he is coming off a broken leg he suffered on October 7th. You want him ready in September? That is just not going to happen. And so then Denver went, okay, well, now that we know Garrett Bowles is not going to play week one, let's go get a familiar piece to at least hold down the fort for the first week, 2, maybe 3, and that is Cam Fleming, right? He offers great depth until Bowles returns, and once Garrett Bowles does come back and takes over his job as the starting left tackle, I'm very confident with with Cam Fleming as your swing tackle. If something were to pop up to Mike McGlinchey, who has missed time in his career, or Garrett Bowles, who's coming off a fractured leg, like that's a pretty serious injury for anyone at any age. But I think Cam Fleming is a good man for the job to step up off the bench if needed for a pinch, but I don't know if he's the man for a 17-game season as your left tackle. Now, to refresh everyone's memory here before we let you guys go and enjoy your Wednesday, recent moves Denver has made. They moved down from Brandon McManus, $2.5 million in savings. If it's post-June 1 release, which I don't think I've seen that yet, it's a little north of $3 million. Altogether, Sean Payton wanted to overhaul the disastrous special teams unit, and that included a longtime member of this team, but unfortunately McManus had a rough season a year ago. They signed Tyler Lancaster to beef up this defensive line, and then Cam Fleming to offer some depth and insurance as a swing tackle until Garrett Bowles returns. So if you made it all the way to the end of the video, type me down in the comment section below. I just want to thank all of you who ride and die with me the entire way through, and don't just tap out 3-4 minutes way through the video once you get your news and you move on. Thank you so much for rocking and rolling with us all year long and all video long. Now that's going to do it for us on today's show. Unless Denver signs Brett Maher, which I feel like is the possibility as their new kicker, I will see you guys tomorrow. But if Denver does indeed sign a kicker, make sure you're subscribed because we'll get a video out to you guys ASAP as soon as we know.